There was still quite a swell, so they were riding up the waves and then having to hold their heads up high as the wave washed over them until they dropped down or were picked up by another one. Their feet were so cold they could barely kick now, and they had lost all feeling in their arms. Toothless tried to help by catching fish and offering it to them, but poor humans, they're so helpless they didn't even seem to want to eat it. After about half an hour, Kamikaze said through numb and frozen lips, "You did learn to swim there, though, didn't you? You pulled Hiccup out without holding on to anything. I told you you could do it." "I did, didn't I?" gasped Fishlegs. "I didn't even think about it." He gave a shaky laugh. "Well, this has all been worth it, and hasn't it? What a way to learn to swim." Kamikaze started laughing, hysterically and faintly, and then she said, "Maybe we should go back now." "In a little while, perhaps," said Fishlegs. "Keep kicking, keep kicking." After another 20 minutes, Kamikaze said, "I think I might have a little nap. I'm feeling very tired." "All right then," said Fishlegs. "We'll just sleep a little while and then we'll carry on." The two dragons fluttered down and landed on two of the table legs, sitting up straight and stiff like two guardian angels on a bedstead. The two Vikings laid their tired, frozen heads on the table, and Fishlegs was just dropping off when he saw through half-closed eyes a ship surprisingly close, looming out of the mist. "Over here," he whispered, his voice box so cold that noise could barely come out of it, and then a bit louder and dragging himself up onto his elbows. "Over here!" He shrugged off his waistcoat and half stood up on the table, waving his waistcoat over his head. "Over here! Over here! Over here! Kamikaze, wake up! There's a ship! There's a ship!" "Oh, go away and leave me to sleep," muttered Kamikaze, not opening her eyes. "It isn't morning time yet." The people on the ship seemed to hear the shouting, for there were cries in a strange language from aboard, and it moved towards them, nearer and nearer. "Wake up, Kamikaze, wake up! There really is a ship," cried Fishlegs. "In fact, more than one ship." And when Kamikaze opened her eyes, there they were, 7 ships, and standing in the front of the deck of the first one, straight and tall as a figurehead, and holding aloft a flare in her right hand so they could see through the mist, was Bear Cub's grandmother. "I hope we're not too late," she said, and then she saw Hiccup's prone body on the table. "But I see we may be," she said with sorrow, but perhaps a certain amount of gloomy satisfaction. There were 7 Wanderer ships that had followed the American Dream 2 across the Great West Ocean. Wanderers are the best truckers in the world, so they're good people to have following you. They had known they were getting close to the American Dream 2 for the past hour because they had begun to pick up a trail of the wreckage thrown into the sea. Candlesticks, barrels of vegetables and jars of beer, chairs, oars, maps, cups, swords and saucepans, all the mad remains of a doomed voyage. They picked up all that they could find in case it would be useful or valuable, because wanderers are not a wealthy people, and this was riches to them. One of the ships had even retrieved from Norbert's defective flying machine and balanced it on the back of its deck so that it looked as if it was about to take off into the sky. Bear Cub's grandmother had begun to think that Hiccup had drowned or landed on the shore of America when they spotted the floating table in the distance. It turned out that Bear Cub's grandmother was a surprisingly good nurse for one so good at cursing. She was much better at it than old Wrinkly, the doctor of the Hooligan tribe, whose cures and potions of seagull's droppings mixed with spider webs often made you feel somewhat worse than you did before you went to see him. A couple of hours, and some of Bear Cub's grandmother's medicine later, and Hiccup's eyes opened to see the faces of Fishlegs, Kamikaze, the Stormfly, Toothless, Bear Cub, and Bear Cub's grandmother, all looking down at him. "I thought you had left us," said Hiccup to Bear Cub's grandmother in surprise. "Why did you think that?" snapped Bear Cub's grandmother. "We could not follow you in these titchy little landing boats. We had to fetch some proper ships. We wanderers are a people of our word, unlike some other people I could mention." There are the 7 wanderer boats coming to rescue them. And chapter 20 is called "The Ticking Thing Starts to Tick Louder."